Well, hey everyone, and welcome to our online experience. And no matter what platform you're joining us on or listening from, it's such an honor that you've decided to spend the next hour or so with us today. Here at Central, our vision is to help you connect with God and with one another. And everything that we do revolves around those two things. And so today, one easy way to partner with us to help others get connected is by taking a moment to share this experience on whatever platform that you're joining us on. You can write a review, or you can leave a rating, as it goes a long way in spreading the word about this amazing community of faith. Also, if you'd like to worship through your giving and partner with us in this vision of helping others get connected, you can do that as well by heading over to our website at centralcc.ca/give. You can follow the prompts, schedule a one-time gift, or set up regular ongoing giving. Thank you so much for believing in this vision and being faithful in this way. Now, it is a new year, and I want to take a moment just to let you know a few ways that you can get connected here at Central. Our chosen method for connection with others is groups, and we have 4 kinds of groups here at Central. We have community groups, small groups, interest groups, and support groups. And so if you need help finding a group that fits you, simply head over to our website, centralcc.ca/groups, and you can search the many groups available to find the best group that fits you. Speaking of groups, there's 2 groups that I want to highlight as we begin this new year together. The first one is our 21 Days of Prayer, which begins tomorrow, Monday, January 10th, all the way through to January 30th. And we want to invite you to join us from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., Monday to Friday, and from 9 to 10 a.m. on Saturdays as we start the year off in prayer and personal connection with God. And so we know for some of you, making it out of the house for 6 a.m. can be difficult with small kids and homeschool and lockdowns and early work schedules, all those kinds of things. And so this year we're making it easy for everyone who would like to join us by offering both in-person and online options. And so more details on how to join us are available on our website at centralcc.ca/21days. The second group, if you're new to faith or you'd like a safe place to ask questions about who Jesus is and why he's worth following, you can join us on February 6th here at Central for an 8-week group called Alpha, which is a group that over 24 million people have gone through around the world, and we'd love for you to join us. And so if you'd like more information on Alpha and what that group is all about, simply head over to our groups page at centralcc.ca/groups. We also have a number of other groups that are gearing up at the end of this month, and so we want to encourage you this month to get connected. Find out all the groups that are available to you. Just head over to our website. Again, if you have any questions or you'd like to pre-register your family to join us in person on Sundays, head over to our website or text the word Central to 905-937-5610. So that's all from me. We're so excited that you've joined us today. Our experience is about to begin, and it all starts right now.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I want to invite you to worship with us, to sing, to give God everything you got right there, right where you are. Join us. Arise, my soul, remember this. He took my sin and he buried it. No longer I who live. Now Jesus lives in me. For I was dead in sin, but I woke up to see the light.
No, I won't boast, but in the cross that saved my soul. All else is lost. The grip of fear has no hold on me. So where, oh death, where is your sting?
No longer I who live. Now Jesus lives in me. For I was dead
this for your glory. Oh, all of this for your glory. Oh, all of this for your glory. Oh, all of this for your glory. Yes. Oh,
do to get you through. Oh, we trust you, God. Even though we don't understand, we say we trust you. And we won't give up, no, no. We'll stay steady. We'll stay strong in you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Anthony. I've been a member here at Central for 9 years now. I am a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I celebrated 10 years just this August. I remember wanting help. I remember waking up every day hoping to die. And then my next thought was, how am I going to get more money to keep drinking and using? And I was sick. I was about 140 pounds. My organs were failing. And I remember just wanting it to end. And there was one particular evening, it was very bad. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I looked up and I said, if you are who you say you are. And I was talking to God, who at that time I hated. I said 3 words. I just said, please help me. And then I contacted a friend in the program who eventually became my sponsor. And then I worked hard. And I'll be honest with you, I stayed clean and sober for the first 2 years out of spite. I didn't want to be clean and sober. I didn't want to be a dad. I didn't want to be a husband. I didn't know what I was. And then around 9 months of me being clean and sober, I was looking for something. I kept saying all the right things and telling everybody that what they wanted to hear in the rooms and working on my steps and things like that. And then we decided to come here to Central, and it helped. Something changed inside of me, but I still didn't trust you folks. I still didn't believe. I got on my hands and knees and I prayed again, and I was baptized. And nothing miraculous happened, but there was a feeling of hope, just. And I knew that if I didn't let God in, I wasn't going to make it. And I still didn't trust you. I didn't believe you. Didn't believe any of this. I felt a yearning, and there's a mentor who's part of this congregation. His name's Paul. He's a wonderful man. He has seen me through my whole journey of 15 years. He's my physician. And I was talking to him, and I remember him and I talking, and I said, you know what, is there something more I should be doing? He goes, you have a story to tell. I said, tell it. Tell it how you want to tell it. And then I guess if I'm to fast forward, Emily, who I'm very grateful to have met here, she asked me if I'd be interested in learning and leading at the same time a group called Freedom Session. And it was 12-step based. And it was an opportunity for me to really learn how those steps were written and what it meant for me. So I get thrown into the ring, and I've made incredible friendships that I still have today. It got me out of me. It gave me an opportunity to share what happened to me and listen to others. And more importantly, dig deep. And believe it or not, when you are in recovery, you have to do the 12 steps. And I thought I'd done all the work, and Freedom Session opened me up again. And it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that right now. It's not for the faint-hearted. And truly, I am here today, clean and sober, not having a cigarette in 8 years because of the thing I hated the most. I'm saved today, and I know it in my heart. And I'm not perfect. I fall short every day. But I know that if I look to Him, my days seem to go by well. And there's something that I've wanted my whole life as a child. It's just some peace. I have that today. It's not perfect, but it's incredible. I get to wake up, and I've seen my son grow up. I've been part of his life sober for 10 years. I got sober when he was 4. My wife and I, our marriage was done. We were separated. And God's restored that. All things have been restored and better than they ever were. And I owe so much of that to the church. Here at Central, I owe my recovery to AA, to the people who've guided me, my mentors, and my mentors here. And that's why I'm here to tell you that if you think there's no hope, if you think that this can't be for you, you're wrong. If you truly want change, it's there. And I believe in my heart that Freedom Session is an amazing tool to help you dig deep and to really get to the bottom of what's been hurting you.
What do you need to be freed from in 2022? Now, I'm not talking about the obvious thing that comes to your mind. I'm actually nuancing it. What thing in your life would you like to be free from that you don't feel free from right now? Maybe it's a situation. Maybe it's an unhealthy attachment. Maybe it's something that's keeping you from becoming who you really want to be. We call those New Year's resolutions. Well, really, that's what this series is all about. It is a pursuit to finding what freedom could look like for you and for me. And again, it's a conversation. I'm not dogmatic about this. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But if you could have freedom in 2022, that is what I would want for you. And that's what the series is all about. So to start, we kind of have to articulate what freedom really is. Like, what is our goal? So I looked up in the dictionary the definition. And here's the definition in the dictionary. There's the obvious one, not being a slave or a prisoner. But here's what I think most of us think of when we think of freedom. It is the power or the right to act, speak, or think as one wants. Basically boiled down, freedom, according to the dictionary, is doing whatever you want. Now, I'm not going to disrespect the dictionary because the dictionary is simply a reflection of what we have put onto that word. It is a cultural issue, and culture says, yeah, freedom is doing whatever you want. Well, I disagree, because let me just frame it this way. What if what you want hurts somebody else? Is that really freedom? So if you're a slave owner, you want slaves, so your life is a little bit more luxurious. Is that freedom? Well, we'd say, well, no. Well, okay, then what if what you want hurts you? Like an addiction or an unhealthy attachment. Is that truly freedom? Well, no, that isn't really freedom. Freedom can't be doing whatever you want. But there are some nuances that I want to talk about. And so I had to really think about this, because that definition doesn't require courage. It's actually kind of cheap, because anybody can do whatever they want. That doesn't take any character, right? So I redefined it. I did my best. And again, You can take this definition, you can do whatever you want with it, but here's what I came up with. Freedom is the ability. So in that, of course, is autonomy, the ability to make your own choice, which I believe is of huge value, but you need to know that you have to also live with the consequences of that choice. So yes, you have autonomy, but there are consequences. It's the ability to do what is best. Not necessarily what you want or what I want, but what is best. That should be the end result. What is the best for you and everyone around you? In my opinion, it's that ability. That's the gift you've been given, but that gift is given with a purpose. And that is what true freedom is. I like what Epictetus said, the Stoic philosopher. He was born a slave, and he was also born with a physical disability. And so he looked at freedom too in a totally different way because he was a slave and he had a limitation. But I love what he said. He said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Oh, that's good. Jesus actually said it this way, and I love, of course, what Jesus said. In John 8:31 and 32, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They answered him, those listening, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves to anyone. What a lie that is. I mean, we're going to look at that story today in Exodus. How can you say that we shall be set free? And Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. So, I want to redefine sin here, not redefine it, clarify it, a nuance of it. Sin in this context, I believe, is everything you should say no to, even if you don't want to, or even if you don't know how to. In this context, you are a slave anytime there's something or someone in your life that you can't say no to, even when you should, even when you'd like to, or even if you don't know how to. Jesus says that makes you a slave. That's the opposite of freedom. And I want you to think about that for a second. Is there someone or something in your life right now that you can't say no to? Like maybe it's a thought. Maybe it's an attachment. Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's the need for affirmation. Maybe it's an attitude, like you're just always negative and you can't seem to break free from it. Here's my deal. I believe sin is anything that keeps you from who you could be. Who you could be. Because I believe you could be amazing. I believe that. I believe the Bible teaches that. And actually, that's the point of the story of Exodus. So for the next 4 weeks, we're going to look through this great book. And obviously, there's so much in it that we can't talk about it all. So I want to challenge you with a couple of things, okay? First, I want to challenge you to read the book of Exodus for this month. Maybe read it one time every week, just from beginning to end. It won't take you that long, just to get into the story. And even feel free to send me your questions or your comments, and maybe we can address those together. Maybe we can learn together. Or I want to invite you to our 21 days of prayer, starting this Monday. If you join us for the 21 days of prayer, every day we'll talk about a different facet of the story and how we can apply it to our lives. But here's the basic story. There's a group of people called the Israelites. They're called the Israelites because they're descendants of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. And they find themselves slaves in Egypt. In Exodus 1:11, it says, the Egyptians put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. The Egyptians, and when you read of different people groups in the Old Testament, just remember they represent different worldviews, just like we have different worldviews today. The Egyptians worked them ruthlessly. So there's a group of people who find themselves enslaved, and what is God's response? Well, in Exodus 3, verse 7, it says, God says, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt, so I have come down to rescue them. Here's what you need to know about the Bible. The Bible is simply a story of how we find ourselves a slave to things and how God wants to set us free. That's really it. I know it sounds really simple, but that is it in a nutshell. So how is God going to do it? Well, this is where the story of Moses comes in. So if you know the story or you've seen the movie Prince of Egypt or the 10 Commandments, you'll know a little bit. So Moses is an Israelite, born a slave. And by Egyptian edict or law, every male child was supposed to be killed because they were a threat. They were growing too numerous. So Moses' mother hides him in a basket in a river, And by ironic chance or providence, if you're a follower of God or Jesus like I am, Pharaoh's daughter finds him and raises him as her own son. Now, he knows he's an Israelite, and yet he has the freedom. What world says freedom, but he doesn't know how to use that freedom yet. He thinks, again, freedom is doing whatever you want. So one day, he sees an Egyptian slave owner beating a slave. He intervenes and kills the slave owner, right? I should be able to do whatever I want. I'm doing the right thing. But he gets found out. Then the consequence is he's afraid for his life. So then he does the opposite. He becomes a victim and he runs away. He thinks, I'm just going to leave the problem behind me. Both are forms of slavery. Believing you can do whatever you want because you have power, and believing you can do nothing because you have no power. Into that story, God intercepts Moses. So Moses has escaped into the wilderness, and as a result, he's a shepherd. And one day while he's watching his sheep, a bush is burning, but it's not being consumed, which is a pretty cool thing. So Moses says, I better go over and check that out. And it's at this burning bush moment that you and I must come to as well, where we are confronted with our slavery, with the thing that restricts our freedom, and God empowers him how to overcome it. And the first thing in this burning bush is that you need to bring that thing, that bondage, that limitation, that restriction, that thing that's holding you back, you need to bring it to the light. That's the point. So in chapter 3, verse 4, God called for Moses from within the bush. And if you're watching this, I believe God is going to call you right now too. And he says, Moses, Moses twice. Moses, this is important. And Moses said, here I am. If you really want to be free in 2022, the first thing is you're going to have to confront that thing that is holding you back. That's it. And it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of courage. It's going to be difficult, but that's the first step. And for a lot of us in our culture, we just aren't self-aware enough to do that, especially in a culture that tells you it's everybody else's fault. Well, yes, that may be true to a point, but there is something in you that's holding you back, and you must confront it. And when he gets close to the bush, it's really interesting because it says, take off your, God says, take off your sandals because you're on holy ground. I think what that means is he's about to encounter truth, and truth is sacred. Truth is the ultimate sacred trust that we are given to find our freedom. So then, of course, is, well, what is truth? I mean, that's what Pilate asked Jesus, right? What is truth then? Well, Jesus answered it in what we read earlier. He said, if you hold to my teaching, my way of living, my way of thinking, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And I know a lot of people read this as an exclusive statement, right? Like, unless you do it every way the church says. No, it's not an exclusive statement. I think that's a misrepresentation. I think it's an invitation to think differently, to act differently, to shed all of the things that hold you back and walk in true freedom. And I've learned this in my life. It's that little voice in my head that says, Bill, you got to deal with this anger. Bill, you got to deal with this pride. Bill, you got to deal with this legalism, this religious attitude. Bill, you got to forgive. And I've got to confront it because it's no one else's problem. It's mine. It's what keeps me enslaved. So freedom is the ability to do what is best, but this requires wisdom to know what it is. So Moses confronts the issue. He tried to run away from it. He can't get away from it. And he tried to pretend it didn't happen, but it did. And he has to go back and deal with it. And the second thing is it's going to take great responsibility to bring this change. So in verse 10 of chapter 3, God says, so now go, I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Now here's the deal. It's still a choice. So following God, that kind of freedom is still autonomy to make your own choices, but it's an invitation into the better choice, into the best choices. And so he says to Moses, I'm going to send you back there. You're going to have to go back and confront the things that you have done, deal with it, but that's the only way you will have freedom, and I want to empower you to bring freedom to everyone else as well. And you can't tolerate excuses. Okay, Can I just be honest with you? I'm getting tired of people's excuses for why they can't be who God created them to be. And Moses has lots of them. The first one is he said, well, who am I? I'm a nobody. And again, and God goes, hey, excuse me? The answer, and you probably know it if you've read the story, God's response is, hey, Moses, I am that I am. Listen, I know what you think about yourself, but I'm telling you, you need to think about yourself the way I think about you, the way I see you, the way I see the situation. I am that I am. So in order to break free, you need to start with who God says you are, because I believe you are more than you believe you are right now. And so does God. The second thing is he says, well, okay, I can accept that, but they aren't going to believe me. I mean, I'm going to go back there and all those slaves are going to think this is insane. And so God's response in chapter 4, verse 5 is this, I'm going to give you signs. So what's in your hand? And again, that's a great illustration. We all have something. We may not be able to do everything, but we can do something. What is in your hand? And he was going to throw it down and you can read the story. It was going to become a serpent. It's a fascinating story. Read it later. But he said, I'm going to give you these signs so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, has appeared to you. So God has empowered you and he has given you something. And then his final excuse is, well, but I can't speak. And God's response is, okay, who gave human beings their mouths? Now go and I will help you speak and teach you what to say. And so God's going to send Aaron, Moses' brother, to help him. And I got thinking about that too, because here's the deal. Freedom is, yes, believing who you are in Christ, but it's also taking responsibility, and God's going to give you something, using that to bring freedom. But then finally, that's the power of the church. He's going to surround you with people who will help you do this. You don't have to do this alone. And so let's bring that definition one step further. So I believe freedom is the ability to do what is best. And this requires wisdom to know what that is and the courage to do it no matter what the cost. And so it says, afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel says, let my people go. And I want to speak right now into your situation. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're going through, but I just need you to know, and I declare it. It is true. God wants you to be free. Let my people go. And 2022 can be amazing if you're willing to trust him, allow him to enlighten or illuminate, confront the things in your life that are holding you back, confess those things, deal with them, and move courageously into what God actually has for you, something better. Don't make excuses. Trust the God who is the great I am. So, as we start a new year, as we start a new push into freedom that we all desperately need and want, I just want to ask you two questions again. First is, what do you need to bring into the light? What do you need to deal with? What is that thing that's holding you back that you've just kind of pushed on the back burner, tried to pretend or ignore, but you need to deal with it? You need to get help. Ask for it. Second, what do you need to take responsibility for? What actually could you do right now if you allowed God to empower you? What could you do to bring freedom to someone else in your life or yourself? And so John 8:36, Jesus finishes this thought with this. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So let me go back within my final question. What do you need to be free from in 2022? What do you need to be free from? I'm going to encourage you to apply this definition and find it for yourself with God's help. Freedom is the ability to do what is best. And this is going to require wisdom to know what that is. And you're not alone. God will help you. And the courage to do it no matter what the cost. And if you do that, I believe you can find freedom this year and for your family and for your community. And with that, I bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'd love to challenge you to consider what is your next step, especially as it relates to being free, even when it sometimes feels like we're not free. How do we choose that perspective? And so maybe today you realize you'd like to take the next step in following in the ways of Jesus. And we realize that everyone's at a different spot on their journey of faith. And as a church, our mission is really simply just to help you get connected to God and each other. And so if you made that decision today to begin following in the ways of Jesus, or you'd like more information on what that looks like, simply head over to our website or text the word Central to 905-937-5610. Or maybe you'd like to get connected in a group this year and explore faith with others. The best way to do that is by heading over to our groups page at centralcc.ca/groups and find the group that best fits you. Again, if you have any questions, simply head over to our website, centralcc.ca, or text the word Central to 905-937-5610, and you'll find everything that you need on how to get connected. Well, that's all from me. I hope you have an amazing week, and we'll see you back here next week.